In this week's comic book section, we have DC is copying Marvel, once again, I guess. Also, Marvel is copying Marvel, and that's an interesting situation. And then Jeff Lemire is staying the hell out of it. So that's what we got. Let's get into it, shall we, nerds? Hello, nerds, and welcome to this week's episode of The News as it pertains to comic books and books. No discussion of current storylines, story arcs, or any of those kind of details is going to happen here per se. I am, after all, a one-man organization and can't read every book that comes out and report on it and any of the news therein. But we can talk about new announcements and major changes as they pertain to any of the publishers that we follow, or just generally nerdy literary information in that sense. So let's get into all of that, shall we? And also, if you dig what's going on here, there is a much more up-to-date and possibly relevant, because it takes a second to get these sections posted up, so probably much more up-to-date version of the news in long form I like to call The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, which you can find linked in the description as well as at the end of this video. That show covers many more points of interest in the nerd community, in the pop culture community at large, and so definitely go check that out. Now let's get into all of those literary notes, shall we? No follow-ups or corrections, no trailers to speak of, just some regular old news. And to start things off in regular news, we have absolute DC. So you know how there's the Ultimate Universe in the Marvel comic books? Well, apparently DC was like, and now they're going to be doing it for them. There is a fairly big difference. Hold that thought. This has been done previously. They have tried to do alternate universes, alternate universe versions of their stories, alternate universe versions of their characters, and so on and so forth. This one is a little bit different because it is going to exist simultaneously with the mainline universe and is not going to be the new 52. So it is going to be helmed by Scott Snyder, who is one of my more favorite modern Batman writers. So this could be very interesting. This one also is going to be different than the other Elseworld stuff that they've done previously, in that it's not just going to be a couple of books here and there, a one-shot here, a little three-story mini, or three-book mini there, that kind of stuff. This is going to be simultaneously, like I said, existing parallel to the mainline stuff on DC. With Scott Snyder involved, I am very intrigued by this. So as it starts happening, we will be keeping tabs. Let's move from here, though, over to Marvel, and that is The Life of Wolverine has just been announced. It is a new comic book that will be covering the life. It is a new comic book that will be covering the life story of Wolverine. They've done this. Why do we need this again? Because Wolverine's about to be huge, once again, with Hugh Jackman playing him in the Deadpool movie for the last time, maybe? They're just capitalizing on the fact that Wolverine is one of the most popular comic book characters of all time, and I don't expect much of this is going to go very far. It is set to be released during Wolverine's 50th anniversary, so that should be sometime soon. I don't remember. Didn't put it in the notes because I take amazing notes. But yeah, so 50th anniversary is this year. I just don't remember what month. Actually, maybe that is in the notes. Hold that thought. Wolverine's long history, blah, 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 blah. July! Hey, I did put it in there. So this July is when it will be launching. Yeah, I just don't see this being super, unless it's a collection, and it didn't say it was a collection. It said it's a new book about Wolverine's life story. They just have a bunch of stuff on the cover that comes from other Wolverine stories that we've read throughout the years. Whatever, it's stupid. All right, and then our last piece of regular ass news for comic books and books comes from Jeff Lemire. Lemire is going to be producing through Boom Studios. Boom Studios will be publishing. It's going to be a new long-form series from Lemire. It will be his most recent one since Sweet Tooth. Lemire is going to be writing and illustrating. There was no name of the series given, so your guess is as good as mine there, but it is going to be edited by the studio editor himself, Matt Gannon. And that's kind of all we've got on that one. So let's move over to suggestions for the week for comic books and books. It's a book suggestion. We're talking about William Gibson's The Peripheral. Right there. It is a little old at this point. It's about a decade old. It came out in 2014. It is the first book of his newest trilogy, the Jackpot trilogy, the third of which still has yet to be released, the second of which came out in 2020. So we're probably looking at another year or two before the third book launches, but this will get you in at the ground level of the most recent works of William Gibson, and it will give you the book novelization of the series by the same name on Amazon Prime, which was fantastic and was canceled, and we talked about that when it happened. Either way, Gibson is great. This is his most modern work, and it's freaking fantastic. Check out The Peripheral from William Gibson. That brings us to the end of the video, nerds. Thank you very much for joining me for the news. Once again, there is a full and probably much more up-to-date and recent episode of the news, the full-length version, if you will, called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, linked down in the description, and probably link popping up somewhere around my face right about now. So click on that, go check that out as well, or if you prefer your news in more truncated pieces, then by all means just stick around here and go check out some of the other stuff we offer on this channel. Thank you very much for joining me. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember, nerds, that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.